Hey there, this is K4A and Knowledge for All educational videos and tutorials. Today we are going to learn how and when you can use scratch block, which is called length of list. This scratch block is used, as its name says, to give you the number, the information, how many items your lists have. So in our case, I will first delete this hide list inventory, and I will also uncheck this hide lists quest when the game starts, because I want to see both of them. So okay, when my game starts, in my case, and I will leave the link to this project file on Scratch site. I'm using the Scratch offline editor, but I will remake this exactly the same project on Scratch site, so you will be available to follow or to experiment with it on your own. So again, in my case, I start my game with free inventory, which makes sense for my game, and 2 quests again, which makes sense for my game. Maybe it's different for you. So my inventory list is empty, as its name says under its name, empty, and you can even see the length 0. And quests, it has 2 items: collect apples words and collect oranges words, text items, and 2 of them, so length is 2, as you can see here. So when I click and drag, and I have to find it first, here it is, one of the blocks in variables blocks, so find the length of inventory, and when I click on it, I will get 0 as a number, as information. Why? Because my inventory list is empty, you can see here. Same goes with quests. I will get the same number as it says here. Length is how much? 2 in my case, so when I press or click on this block, it will say 2. Okay, so when you are going to use this, or for example in a real life scenario or games, so for example I will use this later in combination with some other blocks to, for example, make my inventory list limited. So I will tell something like that, something like this, sorry. If length of my list is greater or less or greater, or so for example, if I want, for example, to have only 3 items in my inventory, so if my length is less than 3, then add item. We can do that. Yeah, this is relatively fast. Yeah, we can do that, I think, even now. Okay, so I need to do a couple of other things. I will move this cat to the end of screen, and I will I will copy these apples to have more than 3 of those. So just duplicate and put it here, and duplicate and put it here. Okay, so what do I want to show you here? Okay, I want to make my game like this. I want, for some reason, again, game design or level design or whatever, you have some idea that your inventory is only 3 items long or big. I don't know, like in Fortnite you have, I think, 5 slots or something like that. So if my inventory is full, if it's already 3 or more items, you cannot add more items to it, or say it differently but the same thing. If my inventory has less than 3 items, then I can add to it. I think it will work, but we will check it out. So I actually have to add it here. Yeah, I made a mistake. I will have to copy paste it again. So what I'm asking here, I'm asking, is my length of inventory less than 3? That means do I have less than 3 items? If I have, then add apple to inventory. Okay, but I need if, then, oh, I already have it here. Great. If I need and yeah, I will explain this just a second, because when I talk, and we have learned this before for all of you who have watched the previous tutorial. So I have made 2 conditions here. So this block and will work only if the left and the right side are true. So you need 2 conditions to be true. I have conditions of touching the cat, that mean collision with cat, and the second condition is the inventory less than 3? Only then I can do what? I can hide the apple and add apple to inventory. So this hide and add apple to inventory will happen only and only if both of those conditions are true. Yeah, that is great, but I have to delete those 2 and 2. Yeah, why did I delete them? Because they didn't have this new code which I just added, and now when I duplicate them, you can see they have the same code, not only the sprite but the code. Okay, first apple, apple 1, apple, yeah, it's called apple 3 actually, and duplicate this one, and okay, so I think this will work. Again, let's try. Maybe I made the mistake again. What have I done here? I told Scratch to check 2 conditions for me. First condition is the cat touching the apple? Okay, if it is the inventory less than 3? It is, then add this apple to it. Same with this one, same with this one, and yeah, actually I have to add this to the third one, the fourth one, sorry. Yeah. So I'll have to rename them apple 1, apple 2, apple 3, and this will be apple 4. So they all have the same code now, finally. Yeah, 10 minutes. Okay, so if it works now, when my cat touches the fourth one, that apple will not hide and will not be added to the inventory. Why? Because we have set the limit here, the condition, add that apple to inventory only if the length of the inventory is less than 3. Okay, so let's see if that works. And check out this inventory list on the top left, sorry. So the first apple should, yeah, it adds to inventory and hides from the screen. The second also should hide from the screen. Okay, third one also, but the fourth, I think, yeah, it doesn't work. So why is that so? Because my inventory is only 3 length, 3 spaces long. 3 number, we have used the number 3 as the limit for the how big our inventory is, and I will yeah, I need to add Yeah, cool. I already have this show when the game starts, show the apple, so I don't have to edit. Great. And I can play with it. So for example, I can limit my, so again, this is a real world situation where you work on your game and you change something. It's real world in terms of indie development and also a big studio. So for example, in some studio where you work, some game designer says, okay, the inventory is not 3 items long, it's only 2, so let's change the limit to 2, and now I will be able to pick only 2 apples. Again, it doesn't make much sense for the real game. The inventory will be too small with 2 items, but yeah, you can start that, and then like those pay-to-win games and in-app purchases, which I hate, pay to make your inventory bigger, like in some games, or to collect more items or more gold or more blah blah blah. Anyway, this works, which is great. That was the whole idea. So we have learned one way to use this length of inventory, which was the whole idea of this tutorial. But the other examples could be, for example, if we have used it to limit the inventory. So also, I don't know, to check out, for example, how big is I don't know, if you have some kind of list, for example, of your game is like, for example, some strategy game or tycoon or manager game, building tycoon. So when I reach the you can make a list of buildings in your game, so when the player creates 10 or 50 or 100 buildings, they are all saved as information in your list, and then you check out this length of list, which is called number of buildings, and if it says it's 100, then you give the player some kind of bonus or achievement badge or some kind of item or something like that. So you can use it for items, achievements or something like that. But in general, it's also very usable in some more complex game where you need to swap or change items in the list in the array. So you need to check how big it is, and then if it's in some kind of limits, then you start working on it. So we will use some kind of different approaches and experiments and examples in next videos, but this one I think it's valuable for lots of you, because you have learned how to use some kind of information to limit, to add more conditions to your game, and then depending on that do something else. So if my length of inventory is 2 or 3 or whatever, and I'm touching the cat, then add me to inventory. Very real world example. Okay, thanks for watching, and see you in next video.